In this video, I'm going to use my absolutely terrible opinion to rank every single map in Rainbow Six Siege out of 10, starting off with Nighthaven Labs. Now, even though Nighthaven Labs has been out for a while, it's just never really grown on me. I don't know what it is about the map, but I just don't enjoy playing it. Whenever I do play it, I don't seem to play very well. Even though I've played on it countless times at this point, I still do not enjoy playing Nighthaven Labs. So overall, I'm going to give it like a 4 out of 10. The next map is going to be Stadium, and this is by far my least favorite map in Rainbow Six Siege right now. It shouldn't even exist. It only got added back to the game because Nighthaven Labs got delayed for a season, and the fact that it's even in ranked makes me want to puke. This map for me gets a 1.5 out of 10. The next map then is going to be the first map which I actually enjoy playing, and it's going to surprise you because it's Emerald Plains. Now, a lot of people don't enjoy playing Emerald Plains, and I just don't understand the hate that this map gets. Honestly, I just really enjoy it as a map. I actually think it's in my top 10 maps in the entire game right now. All the way from its design to the way it plays out, I think this is just a solid 9 out of 10 map. Moving on over to Bank, I do like the map. I think it functions quite well, but it's been unchanged for such a long time now that it's quite a boring pick. Whenever you get this in ranked, you kind of regret it 5 rounds later. So with all of that in mind, I think I'm going to give Bank a similar rating to Nighthaven Labs, and I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. Moving over to Border, it's actually one of the better maps in the game. Once again, I think it does deserve one of the higher ratings on the list. I do miss the fact that the sirens no longer say, please board the helicopter. But other than that, I think the rework was actually quite a good rework, and the way that it plays out right now, it's definitely like a solid 9 out of 10 map as well. Moving over then to one of the more iconic maps in Rainbow Six Siege, and it is going to be Chalet. Chalet for me is one of the best ranked maps. I think I enjoy playing this map in ranked one of the most out of all of them. Overall, I think it is just a fun map to play on, and it actually plays out pretty well as well. So overall, I think it evens out to probably like a 9.1, 9.2 out of 10. The next map is going to be Clubhouse, another underrated map. I've had so many memories on this map throughout the years, and even though it's kind of been untouched for a similar amount of time as Bank, I do still enjoy playing it a lot more than Bank. The only real downside on this entire map for me is when I have to defend the basement objective. I really don't like the dirt portion of the map, but overall I think it evens out to once again be an 8.8 out of 10. The next map I'm going to have a look at then is going to be Coastline. This is probably the most iconic map in Rainbow Six Siege right now. This is definitely the best for taking screenshots. If you've seen any of my thumbnails, maybe even this one has a screenshot of the map Coastline. From a gameplay point of view though, it is one of the better maps in the game. There's so many entry points from an attacking point of view, and from a defending point of view, all of the bomb sites are quite viable. Overall, I think this map is also once again one of the better maps in the game. I'm going to give it a 9.3 out of 10. Moving on over then to the Consulate rework. I do like the rework, but in some elements I also don't like the rework. I knew the original Consulate map needed a rework, but I wasn't expecting it to be as drastic as it has been. I haven't been able to play this one too much in ranked, but whenever I have played it in quick match and stuff like that, I haven't really enjoyed playing it all that much. So I'm just going to give it a pretty average score of 7 out of 10. Moving on to Favela, it's probably one of the most aesthetically pleasing maps. I really wish Ubisoft added night maps back to the game, even if it was just for quick play or something. But for me, Favela just doesn't play out as good as some of the other maps on the game. Overall, I think it's just a solid map, once again being around the 5 out of 10 mark. Moving on over then to Fortress. This is one of the other maps in the game which I think still needs a rework. The way that it currently plays out, I just really do not enjoy. I think the map has way too many really long hallways, making it extremely attacker heavy, and then the bomb sites are extremely hard to attack as an attacker, which makes the bomb sites themselves very defender heavy. It's a weird map. Overall, I'm going to give Fortress like a 3.5 out of 10. I highly recommend that they rework this, and hopefully it's a good enough rework to put it into ranked. Moving on then to Hereford Base. Every time I see this map, I just kind of wish I was playing the original Hereford Base. It is a better map functionally, but it's not as fun to play on as Hereford Base once was. Overall, it's just a pretty depressing map to have to play. Obviously, it's not available in ranked, but as a casual map, it's still very depressing to play. Overall, once again, I'm going to give it like a 4 out of 10. Similar to the Hereford Base map then, we now have House, which every time I play, I once again wish I was just playing on Old House. I don't know why House got a rework in the first place if it was never going to be viable for ranked, but even in casual, once again, House is still not the best of maps to play, and when you do get it in quick match, you kind of wish you were playing a different map. Once again, it's going to go in the 4.5 to 5 era mark. It's just another basic map. Moving on then to Cafe Dostoyevsky. This used to be one of my favorite maps in Rainbow Six Siege, but recently I've just not been enjoying it as much as I have been in the past. I don't know what this map needs, but it needs some tweaks, and overall I think it's just another decent map. I'm going to give it like a 7 out of 10. Similar to Cafe, I once liked Canal, but every time I play it nowadays, I just don't enjoy it as much as I once did. I do think it's slightly better than Cafe though, so I'm going to give it like a 7.5 out of 10. The next map then is going to be Oregon, arguably one of the best maps in the entire game. I'm going to give it a very honourable rating of 9 out of 10. I think the fact that you play on it way too much nowadays, especially in ranked, makes it one of the more annoying maps to get, especially when you get it 3 ranked games in a row. Moving on over to Outback, even though it's been reworked, I still think it's way too big. Don't know what it is about the map, but whenever I play on it, I just absolutely do horrific. I can never seem to get any kills or do well on the map ever, so overall I'm going to give it like a 5.2 out of 10. Moving on over then, we have Presidential Plane, a map that I really hope never gets reworked, because at its heart, it is still quite a fun map to play. Obviously, it's never going to be viable for ranked or anything like that, but it's not intended to be a ranked map. Overall, I still love the fact that you can do runouts and stuff like that. It's a very fun map to get. So overall, I'm going to give it like a 6 out of 10. The next map we're getting then is going to be Skyscraper. I think this is one of the more underrated maps in the entire game, but not as underrated as the next map. Overall, I love the design of Skyscraper. I think it's one of the best design maps in the entire game. I love the way the outside and the area of the map entirely looks, but it's not looks that matter, and the way that this map plays out can sometimes be very frustrating, and I think this is one of the more attacker sided maps in the entire game. So for all of that stuff combined, I'm going to give it a solid rating of 7.8. With that being said then, the more underrated map in my opinion is going to be Theme Park. I actually really enjoy playing Theme Park. I don't understand the hate that this map gets either. This and Emerald Plains, in my opinion, are some of the most underrated maps in the entire game. Whenever I play this map, I seem to have a lot of fun, I seem to do well, and overall it's just a good map. For me, I'm going to give Theme Park an 8.7 out of 10. The next map we're having a look at though is going to be Tower. Obviously, once again, never going to be viable for ranked. I can see us getting a rework to Tower to somehow make it more viable for ranked, but it's going to be an interesting one. Overall, I'd give this map like a solid 6 out of 10. Once again, I can't really put it any higher than that, but I do sometimes have fun games on this map. Which leads us to the second to last map in the entire game. We got Villa. Villa is a map that I just don't enjoy playing. It is solid when it comes to its gameplay, but whenever I play it, I always just don't do well. It's another one of those maps that I can just never really get the hang of. With that being said though, it is still a decent map. Whenever I get it in ranked, I am a bit disappointed, but there is definitely worse maps than it. So once again, I'm going to give it like a 6.8, could even go up to like a 7.3. Somewhere in between there is where I think it lies. Which leaves us then with the final map in Rainbow Six Siege. It is going to be Yacht. Yacht is one of the more annoying maps to get. I actually think it's one of the worst maps in the game. Whenever I get it in casual, I usually end up leaving because it's so annoying to play on. I really hope they decide to rework it or something, or try and make it viable for ranked, but the way it currently is laid out and works is just not that good of a map.